How many times have you looked at your life and felt like you were just going with the flow, not really living the way you'd like? Olivia felt that way too. Stuck in a routine that didn't fulfill her, she believed her dreams were too big for someone like her. But an unexpected encounter with a wise, purpose-driven woman changed everything. Today, Olivia is proof that with courage and dedication, you can step out of the audience and take the leading role in your own story. And the best part? This transformation can begin right now, with you. Olivia was 26 and worked as an administrative assistant at a small company in the city. Every day she repeated the same routine, waking up early, facing traffic, spending hours typing reports and organizing files, then returning home exhausted. It was a stable job, but there was no passion in her professional life. Olivia felt like a small cog in a big machine, easily replaceable and without purpose. She always had big dreams. Since her teens, she was fascinated by technology. She admired people who created apps and software that transformed everyday life. It would be amazing to create something like that, she thought, while watching videos of successful entrepreneurs. But the next thought was always, that's not for me. Those people have something special that I don't. One day, while having coffee in the park during her lunch break, Olivia noticed something that left her restless. She observed people around her, some laughing with friends, others walking with a gleam of purpose in their eyes. She felt like she was the only one not living fully. "Am I destined to spend the rest of my life like this?" she murmured. It was in that same park that she first saw Margaret, a woman who radiated both serene and inspiring energy. Margaret sat alone on a bench, reading a book about technological innovation. Curious and without thinking much, Olivia decided to strike up a conversation. "That book looks interesting. Is it about technology?" she asked, a bit hesitant. Margaret looked up with a warm smile. "Yes, it is. Technology is one of the most powerful tools we have to change the world. Are you interested in that?" Olivia shrugged. "I've always liked it, but never thought it was something for me." "Oh, my dear, the biggest mistake we can make is believing our dreams belong to other people," said Margaret with a confidence that deeply touched Olivia. "Sometimes we just need someone to remind us of our potential." Olivia returned to work that afternoon with Margaret's words echoing in her mind. For the first time in a long time, she felt a spark of possibility, an idea that maybe, just maybe, she could change her own story. That same night, Olivia couldn't forget Margaret's words. She felt that their meeting had been more than a coincidence. It was as if someone had turned on a light in a room she had never explored. Inspired, Olivia began researching technology and app development. She found videos and articles explaining how programming could be learned by anyone willing to dedicate time and effort. But a doubt persisted. Can I do this? Or will it just be another failed attempt? On the weekend, she returned to the park. To her delight, Margaret was there again, reading the same book. With more courage, Olivia sat beside her. "Margaret, I've thought a lot about what you said, but honestly, I don't know where to start. Everything seems so complicated and distant to me." Margaret smiled, putting the book aside. "Olivia, every expert was once a beginner. The difference is who chose to persist. The first thing you need to do is take the next step, no matter how small it seems." With Margaret's guidance, Olivia enrolled in a free online introduction to programming course. At first, the concepts were confusing. She felt lost, but Margaret helped her stay focused. "Don't worry about understanding everything at once. Learn to celebrate each small advance," the mentor said. Over the next few months, Olivia began dedicating her evenings and weekends to learning. Between mistakes and successes, she started creating small projects like simple calculators and to-do lists. Although they were basic things, each achievement increased her confidence. After a few weeks, Margaret suggested, "Why don't you launch one of these simple projects as a free app? It may seem small, but it will be a big victory." Olivia liked the idea and launched a basic to-do list app with a simple but functional design. She published the app in an online store and added small ads to generate some revenue. Without expecting much, she was surprised when she saw that the app started getting downloads. In a few days, it had more than 10 active users. When the first payment for the ads arrived, a very modest but real amount, Olivia felt indescribable joy. I really created something that people are using, she thought. It was a small victory, but enough to show she was on the right track. Even with accumulated fatigue, each download and positive comment about the app was a reminder that she was capable of more. When she shared the news with Margaret, the mentor just smiled. See? Small steps, Olivia. That's how you build something big. Although she was still at her regular job, Olivia now faced her nights and weekends with more purpose. Doubts persisted, but now they were accompanied by small victories that kept her motivated. She was far from knowing it, but those small steps were shaping the woman she always wanted to be. With the modest success of her first app, Olivia felt something inside her had changed. She began to believe that with effort and determination, it was possible to build something bigger. But at the same time, she knew she needed a more ambitious project to take a real leap in her journey. Margaret, as always, was by her side, encouraging her. You've already proven you can turn an idea into something real. Now think, what bigger problem would you like to solve with your next creation? Olivia spent days reflecting. At work, she noticed her colleagues often had difficulties organizing their tasks and prioritizing what was most important. She thought, what if I could create an app that helped people organize their projects while measuring their progress in a motivating way? Determined, Olivia began planning the new project. She spent nights studying interface design and features that could make the app intuitive and useful. During weekends, she worked on development. It was a slow process full of challenges, but with each line of code written, she felt closer to something meaningful. After 2 intense months, the app was ready. She called it Step Up, a simple but powerful platform that allowed users to organize goals into small steps and track their progress visually. Like the first app, she decided to launch it for free, but included a premium version with extra features. The launch was accompanied by a wave of insecurities. What if no one uses it? What if it's a failure? Margaret, with her characteristic calmness, reminded her, failure isn't the opposite of success, Olivia. It's part of the path. What matters is what you learn. In the first few days, the app had only a few downloads. Olivia tried not to get discouraged and continued promoting it in online groups and technology forums. Then something unexpected happened. A small productivity blog found Step Up and published an extremely positive review. The article highlighted how the app was accessible and useful for people who wanted to improve their organization. Within weeks, downloads began to grow. Olivia saw the numbers jump from dozens to hundreds. For the first time, she received messages from people saying how the app was helping their lives. A student wrote, "Thanks to your app, I managed to organize myself to study for college entrance exams. Thank you for creating something so amazing." When the first premium subscribers arrived, Olivia was ecstatic. She realized that beyond impact, her project now also generated a consistent source of income. It wasn't a fortune, but it represented the concrete result of her effort. Margaret congratulated her. "You didn't just take a step forward, Olivia. You inspired other people to do the same." Despite the growth, Olivia knew her journey was just beginning. Step Up was a milestone, but also a reminder that with each victory, new challenges arose, and she was ready to face them. With the growing success of Step Up, Olivia began to notice something curious. People around her, previously skeptical, now came to her asking for advice. Co-workers, friends, and even old acquaintances wanted to know how she had managed to create something so useful and meaningful. Among the requests for help, one conversation deeply marked Olivia. It was from a young woman named Ashley who contacted her by email. She wrote, "Hi Olivia, I discovered your app a few days ago and it has been helping me a lot. But what inspired me most was knowing you started without experience in the field. I also have a dream, but I feel I'm not good enough. Do you think it's worth trying?" Ashley's words brought back memories of the beginning of Olivia's journey. The nights she doubted herself, the mistakes that seemed insurmountable but taught her so much. Olivia replied, "Ashley, the most important thing isn't where you start, but that you start. The path reveals itself gradually, but each step counts. Never underestimate the power of your effort." Inspired by messages like this, Olivia began to realize her journey wasn't just about creating an app, but also about showing that, with determination, anyone could achieve their dreams. The idea of impacting even more people began to take shape. Margaret, noticing the sparkle in Olivia's eyes, suggested something bold. "Why don't you share your story in talks or events? I'm sure there are many people like Ashley, waiting for someone to inspire them." Initially, Olivia hesitated. "I'm not a speaker, Margaret. What could I say that hasn't been said before?" "You don't need to be perfect," Margaret replied. "The authenticity of your story is what will touch people. Share what you've lived, the challenges you've overcome. That's what matters." With Margaret's support, Olivia accepted an invitation to speak at a small local tech event. Nervous but determined, she took the stage and shared her journey. The initial doubts, the nights of study, the launch of the first app, and how small steps led to big changes. At the end of the talk, something unexpected happened. Several people came to her, moved, saying her story had lit a flame of hope in them. One woman with tears in her eyes said, "Thank you for sharing this. I was about to give up on a project, but now I feel I need to continue." That night was a turning point for Olivia. She realized her mission was greater than creating apps. She wanted to inspire others to become protagonists of their own stories, just as Margaret had inspired her. Over time, Step Up continued to grow, and Olivia also dedicated herself to sharing her knowledge. She began creating online tutorials, wrote articles about her journey, and participated in larger events. With each thank you message she received, she felt she was on the right path. Margaret, who watched everything with pride, made a final reflection. "Olivia, taking the lead isn't about being the best or being at the top. It's about leading your own life, positively influencing those around you, and never stopping learning. You haven't just found your path, but also helped others find theirs." Olivia knew her journey was far from over. But for the first time, she didn't fear the future. She felt prepared, confident, and motivated to continue building, learning, and inspiring. A few years passed since Olivia took her first step into the world of technology. Step Up was now one of the most downloaded apps in its category, helping thousands of people transform their lives through organization and focus. But for Olivia, true success wasn't in the numbers or recognition, but in the impact she had on people's lives. On a sunny morning, Olivia returned to the park where it all began. She sat on the same bench where she met Margaret, remembering how her words had planted the seed that would transform her life. It was a moment of gratitude, not just for Margaret, but for herself, who had the courage to begin and persist. On that same bench, a young woman approached hesitantly. "You're Olivia, aren't you? I watched one of your talks, your story. Dad inspired me to start my own project. It's small, but it's already taking shape. I just wanted to thank you." Olivia smiled, eyes shining. "You've already taken the most important step, starting. Don't stop for anything. Each small advance is a victory." Watching the young woman walk away, Olivia felt connected to something bigger. Margaret was right. Taking the lead was more than achieving goals. It was about inspiring others to believe in themselves, and that was the journey that would never end. As she walked home, Olivia received a notification on her phone. Another message from a user thanking her for Step Up. She opened the app and saw a phrase she had put on the homepage to motivate users. "True change begins when you believe you're capable." It was the same phrase Margaret had told her that day in the park. Now, Olivia carried it with her in every step of her journey. She knew there was still much to build, many challenges to overcome, but the certainty that she was in control of her own story made everything worthwhile. Like Olivia, you may also feel trapped in a routine that doesn't reflect who you are or what you dream of being. You might think the right moment will never come, or that something is missing for you to start. But the truth is that the perfect moment will never come, and what's missing might just be the courage to believe you're capable. Olivia wasn't an expert when she started. She had no certainties, just a desire and a spark of courage to take the first step. And that's how great transformations begin, not with security, but with a small act of faith in yourself. The lead role in your life isn't defined by circumstances or what people around you expect. It's defined by each choice you make, Each small effort that seems insignificant, but that in the end shapes who you become. Today, you have the chance to rewrite your script. Look around and realize that all the tools to change your story are within your reach. And remember, the path won't be perfect, but each stumble and each achievement will be part of something bigger, the story of who you are. Don't let fear or doubts occupy the place that belongs to your courage. Take the first step, no matter how small it seems, and see how your life can transform. Taking the lead isn't about being perfect, it's about being true to who you want to become. Believe in yourself. The future is waiting for you. Now it's your turn. What story do you want to tell about your life? What will be the first step you'll take to become the protagonist of your own path? Write in the comments and share with us your dreams, challenges, and the small victories that are part of your journey. If this story touched you in some way, like this video so more people can find it. Send it to a friend or someone special who needs a dose of inspiration to begin their transformation. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow more stories like this. Together, we can create a community of people who believe in themselves and in the infinite possibilities that arise when we take the first step. Because in the end, every amazing journey begins with a simple decision: believing you can.